All right. I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of the masters, the mercy and compassion of grand predecessors, transmitters, simple masters, lecturers, for giving me this opportunity to talk about today's topic, which is chapter 9 of the Classic of the Way and Virtue, or Tao Te Ching. All right. Okay. Uh, in Chinese, this is a very short chapter, but in English, I came up to like 7-page outline. But anyway, okay. The title of this chapter is called 词引. Okay, 词引. You guys see it right there, right? I mean, okay. So I translate as sustaining achievements. Okay, I mean, we'll talk about the translation of these two characters in the next section, but in the first section. But it's a sustain, maintain, to hold on. This means success. 赢 means and this it can mean success. It can mean excess, but it also means success or achievement. Or it can say, or alternative title would be chapter heading of this chapter is called. You can say maintain virtues, confidence, and more. 保长, 长 literally means constant. All right, the 5 virtues, right? 长 is right there. It also means virtues. Okay, by extension, but that's the whole topic of the main, you can say, the main topic theme of this chapter. Okay, all right. So let's go to the first phrase. All right. So 持而盈矣. Okay, that means all right. Okay. Okay. Literally, this translation just means holding and overfilling it. Okay. I mean, that's what this means. Okay, holding. So I put italicized here. It's implied that you're holding something, a vessel, a cup, etc. Okay, I mean, so that's the imply. Okay, because holding and overfilling is kind of abstract, you can say, right? Or okay, so let's go to the dictionary definition of these words. Okay, so the first word literally means to hold. Okay? It's means to hold, to maintain, to keep. You can say to keep. Okay. Okay. Second word means and well, but it's a whole bunch. It could be a conjunction as well as, and yeah, but all that. Okay. All right. Okay. The third word means, literally means to overfill, overflowing, have a surplus. Okay. So these are what verbs, right? Or it could be adjective, right? Full, abundant. This is also a verb. Okay. Okay. Increase, expand. It could also mean arrogant, pride, smug, and complacent too. Okay. All right. The last word is literally it or something, or something. So overfilling it. Okay. Right. So a container, okay, is implied. It's not explicitly stated. Okay. It's holding something to until have that something overflow. Okay. So that's the basic meaning. Okay, yeah. Okay, basic meaning. Okay, so a vessel or cup being used is as a metaphor for many things. Okay, so it's a metaphor. Okay, it's to imply something. Okay, okay, so it's a metaphor. Okay, so the implication of this metaphor is this. Okay, the very basic level. Okay, it's if a mind, in this case, holding our mind. Okay, if it's if our mind is overflowing with preconceived notions, then there's no more room for new knowledge. Okay. Now, uh, this story, people have heard this story before, right? This is recalled the story of an old monk serving tea to a young, arrogant man, very knowledgeable, but arrogant. Okay, young man. Okay, this story has been used in Zen, especially in Buddhism, which is after Lao Tzu, right? After Lao Tzu's time, okay, or similar, maybe 50 years after. But anyway, this story is very has been used a lot in stories, or they call it what's that called? The translation is called koan, gong'an. I think the Chinese is called gong'an. Okay, 公安 means an just means it could be proclamation, it could mean a rule, a law, okay, or yeah, I think that's what. Okay, koan. It's called koan, Koan. Okay, so this is a story about there was a very a young, very knowledgeable young person who learned a lot, who knows a lot, who you can say who knows everything or not everything, but just about everything. Okay, implies that very careful. And he wanted to, because he's very, knowledgeable, and also he likes to know more, obviously. So he heard that there's an old monk, okay, who's very wise, okay. So he wanted to, hope to meet this old monk, and hopefully he can, you know, either get some knowledge or show the old monk how knowledgeable or smart he is, the young person is. So he went to see the old monk, right? And he started, telling the old, just, talking with the old monk. I think discussing, just displaying his knowledge, his knowledge of many things, okay, or maybe even the sutras, etc. Okay, and he kept talking, so the old monk didn't say a thing. Okay, so finally after the young man, stopped, I think he's feeling very, how can I say, very satisfied that, oh, he you know he displayed, to the monk, how much he knew, etc., etc. Okay, but the old monk, okay, so when it came time for old monk to say something, right, to him, because the old young man was probably hoping that, oh, the old monk would you know do one or two things: either congratulate this young man on how much knowledge he knows, okay, or he understands, or say something wise to him, okay, that so that he could either get more knowledge or whatever. Okay, it's kind of like seeking self recognition or something, okay, or recognition from the old man. But anyway, so the old man, instead of the old monk, instead of you know replying, and saying, just invited the young man to sit down and have some tea. Okay, so he handed him the cup. Okay, and so he started pouring tea into the young man's cup, and when it reached the top, when the tea reached the brim of the cup, instead of stopping filling, stopping to fill the cup, he continued. The old monk continued, and so the young man was like, was taken back and was really shocked and wondering, you know, is the old monk, what's the old monk doing? Is he blind? Didn't he see that his teacup is overflowing? And or if he's testing him or saying or doing something. Okay, so he finally couldn't hold back the young man. The old monk kept pouring. I guess it's a big teacup. I guess, I don't know. But anyway, okay. I mean, it's not a big teapot here. But anyway, but it doesn't matter. Okay. The whole point is that. So finally, the young man, he's very impatient and kind of proud, arrogant, you can say. Couldn't hold back any longer. So he said out loud to the old monk, "Oh, monk, stop! Can't you see that the teacup is overflowing? Why did you keep pouring keep pouring the tea into the full cup for? What are you doing?" So the old monk said, you are very knowledgeable, and you came, you came show me, to display how much you know and all that stuff, how much you knew, how smart you are, etc., or how intelligent you are, how knowledgeable you are, and you came seeking, my either, seeking my response or my uh, approval or whatever. But he said, if your mind is so full, it's overflowing, how can you receive any more, knowledge or advice? Okay, so the point is that in this in this physical realm, in this earthly realm, granted it's not absolute, it's relative. Okay, it is relative, right? But because it's relative, everything has a, how can I say, has a limit. Okay, or has a limit. Okay, so that's that's symbolized in the yin yang diagram, right? Right, you guys, you guys are familiar with the yin and yang diagram, the black and white, right? That symbol, right? Right, that circle, right? With the black half, well, not half, yeah, area wise it's half, right? Half black, half white, symbolizing, you can say positive, negative, okay, max, min, okay, so basically it just means that, and that goes back to the whole theme of this this chapter, which I will summarize at the end. But anyway, uh, that in this physical phenomena, reality, everything's relative, so there's no absolute max. Okay, no, there's an absolute minimum either. Everything's relative, but what more importantly, what it means is that when you reach a certain, in this case, let's say high point, let's use high and low, right? Because those are duality, right? Everything is relative, so there's duality. So when you reach a maximum or high, for example, even though it's relative to something else, then that's the that's the maximum that you can reach, and then the decline. Well, I guess everyone said you reach relative high, but then the decline will come. Okay, so it's a cycle. Okay, so there's going to be a high and there's going to be low. So when you reach the highest point, what must follow is that it's going to start coming down, declining. Okay, so that's reality. Okay, that's life. That's like that's nature. That's nature. That's reflection of nature. Okay, all right. So what Lao Tzu is saying is that we should not try to attempt to reach that high, because what follows is going to be a decline. But now that's a very it can say narrow one aspect, maybe one dimension one viewpoint. So, but it still holds true, because I'll get to later when it talks about arrogance. That's like there's an arrogance component. But okay, so so you guys can look it up in the you can go to internet and research the story. This is a very common story. I mean, a very well-known story. Okay, about the young the old monk and the young person, um, young man. There are many variations of this story, but you guys get the channel. Okay, so let's go. The basic meaning of this line is that the metaphor of the story has several levels. Okay, all right. So the first is to have tea poured into a cup is to receive or learn knowledge. That's a very basic. Okay. Then to drink the tea from the cup is to apply the knowledge, turning into experience and then wisdom. Okay. And then the third is, on the other hand, to not drink the tea is not to apply the knowledge and experience. Okay. And the fourth is, this knowledge is just book knowledge and not very intelligent. Okay. So implications is that whenever we're learning something, or whenever we're embarking on a task or whatever, just like when we are cultivating. Let's use example of cultivators. What's the implication? Okay, so we have to learn. You have to learn. Okay, as a cultivator, you cannot say that, oh, I know everything already, because I have this Buddha nature, which is, which knows everything. Well, that is true, but in that case, when you say you know everything, it's not your Buddha nature that's speaking. It's your ego. Okay, it's your, it's the sixth consciousness or seventh, sixth or seventh. Okay, that's speaking. Okay, so that's different. All right. Okay. So the point is, if unless you are totally enlightened like a Buddha, right? We still, in order to reach enlightenment, you can say, for most of us, even Buddha, he had to learn. Buddha had to learn. Buddha had to embark on that journey, right? At least a 6-year journey of, you can say, of testing experience, right? Testing experience, experimentation, you can say, right? He sought out different masters. Plus, well, I mean, that's even before, but he tried different methods, right? Right? Okay, so you still have to learn. Okay? You have to learn, and then you have to apply that knowledge or that learning or that turn into experience. Okay, so as cultivators, as we learn things, right, about the Tao, about about you know precepts, about the principles, etc., etc. Okay, then we have to apply it, right? We have to do it, show it. Okay, so learning is the internal aspect, right? Right, yeah, because it's only you that's learning, right? I mean, it's it's okay, and then you have to express it. You have to follow it, you can say, or abide by the precepts or the knowledge, etc. Right? Okay, so that's drinking the cup. Okay, so we have to turn. Okay, and in doing so, it will then help us. How can I say? I wouldn't say gain wisdom. It'll help us realize, or yeah, maybe realize, understand that we have this wisdom that will express itself. Okay, all right, as we are applying. Okay, as we are applying this knowledge, or okay. So on the other hand, is so if we do not learn, and not to drink the tea or cup, is to basically not to learn anything, not to learn. Okay, and not to experience. So we have to be careful, right? Uh, and then if we do not apply, even if we learn, even if we say, "Oh, I heard this, or I read about this, or etc." But if we don't do anything about it, okay, so then that means that knowledge or information, etc., even wisdom, okay, it's not very useful or meaningful, right? Because we're not applying it. Okay, so now so that's the basic metaphor of the cup, okay, cup, right? The cup of tea, okay, drinking a cup of tea. But then there's another meaning, okay? So the overflowing part is a metaphor, you can say, for arrogance, okay, Java, as well as causing more trouble, okay? It just means that you are so full of it, okay? You become, and I'll talk about this a later section, okay? Later, I don't know, 3 sections later, that will talk about the reason for that, okay? All right, so, all right. Now, there's a deeper meaning, okay? And that refers to the the holding the cup, okay, holding and overfilling, all right, okay, is to what? It refers to our excess desire, okay, or attachment for material things in life, okay, 拥有, right? 拥有, I think that's pronounced 拥有, right? It means it literally means existence or to have things, okay. But okay, so that's what the deeper meaning means. It then allows us kind of like cautioning us against having excess desires or attachments for material things, okay, in our life. Okay, the higher understanding is that we have this, okay, we should be, and why is that? Why be cautioned against having excessive desires, etc., attachment? It's because we are we become influenced and enticed by this physical world. So we're constantly pursuing a materialistic life. But if we pursue this materialistic life excessively, okay, that means excessive materialistic side, then our conscience will be covered up and will be drowned out by the material matters. That's why. Okay, that's why Lao Tzu kind of cautioned us about it. Okay, so the deeper understanding is this. This is what Lecture Liu would say. You know, and this seems to have nothing to do with this phrase, but actually is the underlying, you can say, underlying reason or cause to why not to have excessive desires. Okay, all right, it's because, uh, or actually it's for suffering, but that this is the underlying cause. Okay, of karma. Okay, so once we enter into an intentional thought, right, all the stirred mind, aroused heart are selfish, for because it's for one's own benefit. So we must not let our minds and hearts be stirred and aroused. Okay, so that's important. Okay, because once we have desires, that's the source of the desires is because our heart and mind is aroused. Okay, it's stirred. Okay, you know, and the mechanisms through those six senses, right? We talked about that in the previous chapters. Okay, all right. So the key point is this: we must remember that a thought is karma. Okay, where all the previously planted causes, okay, together with the current thoughts are called karmic affinity or secondary causes. Okay, and they will combine together to form karmic manifestation, which we then must bear. Okay, so that's why you know, we should be careful. We should be extremely careful of our thoughts, you can say, or stirred mind, aroused heart. Okay, thoughts. Okay, not just that they will cause desires, but it's because it's going to create karma. Okay, because desires is just you can say it's an emotion, right? You can say it's a emotion reaction or something, or or mechanism. Okay, but it leads to karma. Okay? So the key implication is if we do not have a stirred mind and aroused heart, although there are karmic causes created in the previous lives, there are no secondary causes. Okay? If there are no secondary causes, believe it or not, or karmic affinities, then karmic manifestations will not emerge. Okay, so now, so this is a very important, you can say, point, okay, about causality. Really, you could go more in detail on a separate topic. In causality, we could discuss. Uh, um, the key is that if we, do not have this, stirred mind, or rising thoughts, you can say. Okay. Now, even in this life, okay, let's say in the present moment, even though there are or there were previous causes planted, right, in our previous lives, right? I mean, you can't say that, for certainty that, in our previous lives, all, accumulated lifetimes, we did not create any karma, right? Or we did not plant any causes, okay? So there are, okay? But the key is, even though there are planted, causes in our previous lives, accumulated, eons and eons, or all that, okay? If we do not have a stirred mind and thought now, stirred mind and aroused heart, if we do not have that in this present moment, then those previous lives accumulated, you can say, causes will not converge. Get it? Will not converge in this moment and create karma or manifest karma. So that's a very important, because the key is this: we have to understand our mind. You can say our mind. Once we have a thought, it's like a magnet, and that magnet then will attract all you can say all variables, all components, i.e., those previously planted causes. Okay, and once those causes converge, now it's not to guarantee that it will happen immediately, or the manifestation, the result will manifest immediately. It could take time, because like all these secondary causes, right? We all understand. They how can I say? They depending on the conditions, circumstances, etc. It will only bear fruit, right? Okay, so that's important, right? Now, people will say, well, what about the story? And I didn't put it down here, but you all know about the story of Buddha, and I think he was talking to Ananda, right? I think it was either Ananda or who's that? Is it Mahakasyapa? One of them. He was saying that, remember how there are times that he has a headache. He gets a headache, right? And the story is that Buddha, when he was many either eons or who knows, okay, many cycles ago when he was a young boy, right, in a village. I think he was talking to not sorry, not Mahakasyapa. It was Galiana. I think. Oh, no. Yeah, it's either Galiana or Ananda. But anyway, because one of them asked him why, Buddha did not try to save his clan, his father's, tribe, okay, or clan from getting destroyed by another rival, okay, right? Remember? And Buddha said he couldn't do anything to stop it, even though he was a Buddha, right? He has, tremendous superpowers. So Magadhyana, remember, tried to go and save his family, right? Buddha's family, remember? Okay, so that this followed upon that event, okay? So Buddha said to Magadhyana or Ananda, either way, one of those two asked him why he couldn't, stop this karma from happening, right? And so Buddha told him the story of when he was a young boy, in a fishing village, okay. They were all, I guess, fishermen, right? They all went fishing. They caught a lot of fish. And now there are different versions, but this I'm gonna give you this version. But the story, he said as a young boy, he didn't go out fishing, because he was young, right? He was kind of young. He was too young. So when they caught the fish, the villagers came back, and he saw a man, either another man or another boy, use a stick to strike a fish, to kill the fish. I guess the fish was still alive. And so Buddha, back, as a young boy, he even though he didn't participate in the taking of the fish from the ocean and then striking the fish dead with a stick, I wouldn't say he enjoyed it, but I think he took pleasure in watching that, the person striking the fish dead. So what Buddha was saying is that, he couldn't save his family, in this present life right now. Okay, even though Ananda and Kalyana urged him to, it's because his present family, his clan, his father, etc., were those villagers that went fishing many lives or eons ago. And so now, because of of the, how can I say, the timing, if you will, the convergence of all these secondary causes, okay, or karmic affinity, the time is now ripe for that to bear fruit, and that is, they, being the previously fishermen, now are going to get killed or annihilated by a rival group, which were the what incarnations of fish. Okay, so Buddha, understanding how causality works, couldn't intervene. Okay, but he said, even then, whenever he thinks about it, okay, this is the interesting thing. So he has a thought. Remember, he has a thought, right? He would get a headache because as a young boy back, many eons, he watched somebody, kill the fish with a stick, and he kind of like took pleasure, or he didn't do anything to stop it, I guess, or he I wouldn't say he enjoyed it, but he was, they say what curiosity, like, I mean, even we can kind of understand that. But let me ask you, how many of us, when we're driving on the highway, and then we see an accident, or we notice that, oh God, there's a horrific accident, either on the other side of the road or on the side of the road, and everybody stops, or not stop, but slows down to look at it, right? Right? I mean, come on. I mean, all of us are in in some way or another. Okay, some have done that, right? Have done that. So it's that, I don't know, that curiosity, you can say, or I don't know, I forgot what there's a term that we have I don't want to say it's a perversion, but it's a sense that we enjoy watching, we enjoy watching something unfold, drama, an accident, etc., etc. You know, so Buddha, when he was a young boy, in this whatever previous eons ago, he had that, you can say, curiosity or whatever, and he saw that. So then, in this present moment or life, whenever he has a thought, I guess it has to be a thought about the karma or whatever of his of his clan or family. He'll get a headache. Okay, all right. So that's the story. All right. So there are different parts of it, but that's an interesting point. All right. Okay, about how karma works. Okay, so let's just go to the next phrase, because this is the follow up phrase to the first phrase. Okay, okay, 不如此意. Okay, so that means can't be as good as stopping short. Okay, all right. So the first word means no, not, will not, negative. Okay. Second word means as is, like as compared as, in accordance. Okay. So the meaning of that is not comparable to, or not comparable to, or not as good as. And then the last two words means, okay, literally what it means is what one already has. Okay. I mean, not literally, but it means that. Um, it means that, or literally it means it's such that there. But it also means already, okay, already finished, okay, so already that is finished, okay, already, or stopping short, okay, all right. So the just basic meaning of that phrase is that, in a general sense, having too much of anything is a bad thing. So, okay, so remember the first phrase is overflowing, right? Something that's overfull, right? That's overflowing. So we shouldn't have something that's too much, excess, okay, excess. Now, this is the basic, okay, that meaning, okay. So another meaning just means stopping short of saturation is a better thing. It's better to avoid excesses. Okay, all right, okay, yeah. So so that's very practical, right? We shouldn't eat until we shouldn't you know you know eat until till our stomach is about to burst, right? I mean, obviously that's bad for you, right? Okay. We shouldn't drink too much. Okay. I'm not talking about alcohol, but I'm just saying drinking anything, okay, or eating anything. We should not go into excess, obviously, right? Or even good things, vitamins or stuff like that. Okay, excess vitamins is not good for you either. Okay, so all right. So the basic understanding is that this knowledge or T is something that we want to learn, right? To fill, okay, to learn, right? Filling the cup and to apply, that is strength. But always remain open, okay? I mean, it just means that you always leave some room, okay? Leave a little room, okay? All right. So this principle a lot applies to all other aspects of life, right? Overindulgence in eating, overworking, overplaying, oversleeping. All right, one should be set. All right. So anything excess is not, I mean, most of the time, we tend to not, well, overeating is bad. I mean, maybe we tend not to overemphasize, but we tend to do this a lot, right? Overplay, oversleeping. Okay, now, when I say overplaying, like, it just means participating in something that we think it's pleasurable. Okay, all right. Okay, so like, how many times, we let's say we love playing a video game, and you know, you know, or any game, any game. Okay, it doesn't really video game, but anything, and we tend to go overboard, right? Even when it's time to eat, we don't feel hungry. We're so engrossed in this game or whatever. Okay, that we have so much pleasure, we take so much pleasure. We just continue on. Okay, even past sleeping time. How many times? I mean, those of you who have children, sometimes, yeah, children, they play all night. I mean, there are instances where they say some people, some young teenager, I don't know, they said they played some kind of game. For, I don't know, 24 hours or something, and then he died or something like that. Anyway, okay, so same thing, oversleeping, right? I mean, okay, we feel tired, God, you rest, sleep a little bit. So all these things are not are excess, and that's not the proper way. Okay, and it's definitely not our Buddha nature guiding us. What's guiding us? Six senses, right? We enjoy playing or watching a show or watching, I don't know, binge watching, right? You could go on Netflix or, or Amazon Prime and just binge watch anything, right? Especially during this lockdown, right? You have nothing better to do, right? So we have to be careful. Okay. So that's also not the middle way either, right? The middle path at its very basic level. Okay. All right. Okay. So so the deeper meaning is this, though. Okay. Here's the deeper meaning. It's we have to stop this type of mindset of having a life of materialistic pleasure. Okay. So 早一点停止那种心，OK，物质的生活要享受，OK，we because and why? Because the default for most of us, right? If we're not enlightened or we're not aware of our Buddha nature, we are driven, or you can say we are, I don't say taken over, but the master, the master that's driving us is our six senses. Okay, right? Okay, so that's the problem. With the six senses in control or in charge as our master, um, it's going to what? Lead to excess. Why? Because you're never satisfied. You know, you see something you like, okay, you want more. You want to see more, right? You smell something you like, you want to smell more of it. You hear something you like, you want to hear more. Okay. It's just a vicious cycle. Okay. All right. Okay. So the higher understanding is this. Okay, it is better off to let our excessive pursuit of material pleasure end early. Okay. Okay. Do not try to cut it off early. Okay. So because if we don't, then it's like a downward spiral. Okay. We'll get we're going to dig ourselves a deeper hole. Okay, never ending deep hole. Okay. So the deeper understanding is that we must all set a goal. Well, what is that goal? I mean, that's obviously it's kind of lofty, but okay, it's only to seek to become a Buddha and not to seek extra things, right? That's way right, 为求作福，不求欲物, right? That means extra things, extra objects, okay, extra materials, okay, all right. So that's the higher goal, okay. That's the best, okay. So the implication is this, okay. Even if we want to take pleasure or enjoy 享受, right? Enjoy material things, okay, material creature comforts, okay, in life, it's only for a short duration, right? No matter how much pleasure we enjoy, it'll still only be about 100 years or so, right? Give or take, right? I mean, at best, right? What's the average lifespan, right? In the U.S. it's probably what, 80 years, 70, 80, right? 75, 80, right? So at best, at max, you can only enjoy, for roughly 100 years, if that, okay? And what about the rest of the time? Now, unfortunately, for most people, why we still can, why people, still, even though, still continue to want to seek pleasure, physical pleasure in life, is because they don't realize that there is another part. I mean, there is still there's still something after life. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, there's still an afterlife. Maybe that's another way of saying. Okay, and most people, and that afterlife obviously may not be just our physical being, right? A physical life existence. It could be another existence. Okay, another form. Okay, but unfortunately, most people don't think about that, or they don't believe in that. Okay, so all they could see is this current life, right? This present physical life. So if they're unenlightened and they're controlled or driven by our six senses, then they'll continue to seek pleasure, right? Seek more and more of this and that or whatever, or material things, right? Okay, so that's very sad, so that's why we have to learn that we or understand that we have a Buddha nature, that so that there is an afterlife, quote unquote, right? An afterlife after this present life. Okay, all right, and that's more important because that could last for a long time, right? Okay, all right, okay, so much longer than the 100 years or so, and also it's 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 um it's part of uh, the, the cycle, or we call it samsara, of reincarnation also. Okay, and it's the process of reincarnation. Okay, so we're gonna have endless uh, birth and death. Okay, endless birth and death, and that's gonna create. It's a like a vicious cycle. Okay, and it's just downward spiral. Okay, all right. So the key point is this: uh, we should not use this very short time to create unlimited karma or you know a lot of karma, which will cause us limitless suffering or unlimited suffering. Instead, we must borrow, make use of this very short period of time, right? Which is right at best 100 years or so, right? So as to be able to cultivate our bright Buddha nature, to let it return to its original brightness. In order to, to become enlightened, so that we can what break this vicious cycle of samsara, of birth, death, rebirth, death, etc., right? And suffering, and suffering along the way. Okay, all right. So that's the first line. Okay, okay. This is the second one. All right. Okay. Um, okay. It's Chwai, right? This means Chwai, right? This character is Chwai. Okay, so Chwai Chwai Rui Zhi, right? Rui Zhi. Yeah. Okay. So now the translation is Chwai. It means try more. It means to. Okay. It literally means to pound, pounding a blade and sharpening. Okay. All right. So the first word definition is it's to sharpen something. Okay, like try more. Now it means it could say to guess, to figure out, etc. Okay, it's a verb. Okay, okay, okay. But in this context, it means to sharpen. Okay, and I'll get talk a little bit about more afterwards. Okay, so the meaning of the last two words, 睿智, it literally means 睿 means something that's sharp, that's pointed, okay, or acute. Okay, in this context with this first word, 揣, it's to sharpen something. Okay, so 揣摩, it's like a blacksmith that's pounding a metal blade to turn it into a sword or a knife. Okay, so that's the metaphor. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, so the basic meaning of this phrase means it's to sharpen the blade, but it also means it's to train oneself in order to show off. Yeah, okay, to show off how keen, how sharp. Okay, okay, okay. Here's another meaning. Okay, it just means it's just generally a good thing. Generally speaking, okay, it's a good thing to sharpen something, right? I mean, because if you need a knife, right, to use a knife to cut vegetables or something, right, it better be sharp, right? Because a dull knife is useless, right? It's useless, right? You can't cut anything with it, right? It loses its utility, its function, right? Because a knife is to cut things, right? Right? I mean, that's what a knife is for, right? So if it's not sharp, i.e., it's dull, then it's useless. So it loses function. So a sharp blade is obviously more useful than a dull blade, right? Obviously. But if it's carried out, if the sharpening of this blade is carried out to an extreme, that is, if a blade is sharpened too much, it becomes brittle, right? It becomes too thin, right? Right? It'll break off easy. Okay. So for example, uh, a razor blade is extremely sharp, right? I mean, it is, right? It's sharper than most knives, right? Most pocket knives or even most kitchen knives, right? But it's so thin, right? That's why it's sharp too, right? Because it's very thin, right? And but it's easy to break off, right? Right? I mean, okay, especially for I don't know, maybe for men. I mean, have you guys used box cutters, right? Right? Box cutters uses razor blade, I think, right? Or not exactly, not as thin as a razor blade, but the box cutter blade is very thin already, right? Thinner than most knives or right. So sometimes when when you're not careful, when you apply too much pressure, sometimes the blade will break off, right? Okay, I mean same example. Now that this is the physical meaning, right? The physical, the tangible understanding. There's a higher level, a little not higher, but they imply another metaphorical meaning is that we should not overtrain. Just like when we overtrain, right? We're we're in the school, or we're in a competition or whatever. People train, right? We have to train, for for this competition. Let's say sports, okay, for example. I mean, so if we do it excessively too much, guess what? You can get injured too, right? So that's very basic, okay. So the implication is this, okay, just like and this is just like the metaphor of the first line, right? About overflowing, holding an overflowing cup. This over sharpening also applies to other aspects of life. Being very sharp, keen, pointed is also a metaphor for being overly critical and harshly judgmental. That is, someone who claims to be a perfectionist, that is egocentric, hypercritical, and judgmental. So we got to be careful. All right, we have to be careful. All right, so this sharpening or over sharpening, okay, also implies that, okay, let's say we know a lot, we learn a lot, or whatever, we know a lot, you know, we have to be careful about how we use it, okay, or how we show it, okay, or how we display it. All right, if we're not careful, all right, we can come out as being overly critical or harsh, or very harsh, right? Like say, you know, what a blank 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 you are, you've learned, how long have you been to this temple, or what, how, what have you learned, well, don't you know how to do this and that, and okay, so we got to be careful, right? Okay, even though we know a lot, we're very sharp, we're very keen, okay, we know a lot, okay, but we have to be careful, so all right, okay, so the deeper understanding is that in life, okay, most of us have this notion of not to let others take advantage of us due to being too feeble. So we need to become stronger. That's the meaning of sharp. Okay, so yeah, so most of us, right, we know that, hey, life can be tough, right, because we're going to, and we don't want to be taken advantage of. Okay, so we need to be stronger. Okay, now this is not just physical. Okay, yeah, it can be physical. You're a weakling, so you want to, you know, you know, get stronger so nobody can pick on you or bully you. Okay, that's one aspect. The more general aspect is, so we want to know more things so that we can use that to protect us or defend us. Okay, but we have to be careful. Okay, we can't. How can I say? We can't over sharpen ourselves. Okay, overdo it. Okay, so by over sharpening ourselves, that's what okay. Okay, that's the metaphor to sharpening. Like we tend to go to extremes and create friction between ourselves and others and make life difficult for everybody. All right, so we have to be careful. So once again, we should not go into excess. Okay, that's the key. So once again, it implies the middle way. Okay, which is a little bit different, but in the most basic level, that you could say middle way could mean that too. Okay, all right. Okay, so the fourth phrase, or the second half of this first line is, or second line rather, is 不可藏保. That means, literally means cannot be kept for long. Okay, okay, that's what it means. Okay, so 不可 means can't, 藏, okay, could be adjective, okay, or I guess noun, is it? Yeah, adjective, noun. Okay, constant, long, permanent, normal, usual. Okay, 保 means to keep, to maintain, to preserve, to ensure, to guarantee. Okay, all right. So the basic meaning of this is that the arrogant person from the first line, okay, from about the overflowing cup, or the second line, or this third line or third phrase, sorry, is that a blade that is over sharpened to a point that is not someone who will endure or last, right? So a blade that's too sharp, or that's pounded so thin, that sharpening so to make it so sharp, it's going to snap off easily. It's not going to endure. Okay, same thing. An arrogant person, okay, on which the teacup is overflowing, they're not going to endure too, because why? People will resent them, right? They'll create a lot of resentment, a lot of, you can say envy even, okay, jealousy, envy, resentment, and that's going to create a lot of friction. So those are that people who have these type of characteristics, right, are not going to endure. Okay, all right, okay. So the higher understanding is this: since this Tao is eternal, selfless, and non-judgmental, then an arrogant and overly judgmental person or sharp person will not last long, because arrogance, egocentricness, or judgmental qualities are not the traits of our Buddha nature. Okay, they're definitely not. All right. So we talked about that in chapter 8, right? When we talk about the virtues of the water. So that's what the Buddha nature is more close to, okay, more closely resembles, okay, the virtues of the water. Okay, so, all right. So the deeper meaning is this: having extreme traits, okay, characters, traits, will not endure for long because they are contrary to the eternal traits of our Buddha nature, right? That's the, all right, chapter 8 last week we talked about, or 2 weeks ago, okay? So the key point is this: right? Because our Buddha nature are the same, all of us have the same Buddha nature, we should treat each other equally, okay? And support each other equally, and are able to look after each other. This way, our lives will become more satisfactory, okay, or more satisfying, okay? So we should not, you know, go to extremes, right? And what, become arrogant or become overly critical or judgmental, etc., right? To become too acute, too sharp, okay? All right, the third line is, okay, means gold and jade fill up the room, literally. That's what the translation means, okay? So, the first word, jing, means gold. It literally means gold or precious, golden. Yu, second word, means jade, okay? Or luxuries of life, okay? It just means something that's rich, bountiful, luxuries. And also means gem. It could be a precious stone, okay? Man means to be full or filled up, okay? To reach the limit, okay? And then tang means hall, okay? Hall, room, main room of the house, okay? So the idiom, as a matter of fact, this is an idiom, okay? It just means it could mean that it's a room or hall filled with wealth or gold and abundant wealth. Okay, that's the idiom. Okay, now understanding is this. Now there's a Western thought, okay, of too much is never enough. Okay, but actually there's another how I say opposite complement to that saying, which is quit while you're ahead, which recognizes the dangers of excess. Right? Okay. All right. So okay. So all right. So okay. So that's I'm not gonna get too much detail, but okay, that's what this phrase could also imply, right? Too much is never enough, right? Okay. All right. Okay. So accumulation of wealth is not necessarily bad as long as it is utilized for something good, unconditional, non-conditional, unconditional, good, unconditional, and worthwhile in accordance with Tao. I don't have time, but I don't want to go into the story. I don't know if you guys, those of you who are familiar with the story of Zhuangzi, Bai Zhuangzi. Zhuangzi gave a story about an emperor and the blessings of a well-wisher. I don't want to go into too much detail. Basically, an emperor was visiting, okay, visiting his realm, his kingdom, and he came upon this, I don't know, village or town, and then there was a young, let's say, well-wisher, scholar, well-wisher, and the scholar, or a well-wisher, wished. I think there were like three things that he wanted to, not congratulate, to wish the emperor, to have. Okay, one is long life. I think the first one's long life. The second one is uh, more offspring, more sons. No, I think the third one is more wealth or power, something like that. And each time the emperor, not rejected, declined those wishes upon him, because he said, "Oh, the first wish meaning long life. Oh, I don't want to live until I'm too old. Someone, and the second one is, if I have too much kids, it's going to be hard to raise them, and they're going to have a lot of problems, blah blah blah, about getting along." So the third one is that he declined the wish for more, I think, more power and wealth. It's because he already has too much, which okay, too much and everything. So on the surface, right, on the surface, what the emperor said is not unreasonable, right? What's the point of living, another extra 200 years, 300 years, you're still going to die, right? I mean, so, okay. And having too many kids, too many, big family, it could be too much to handle, right? And then having too much wealth and power, you know, it's excessive, right? It's not necessary, right? Even though, even for the emperor. So on the surface, right, it sounds not unreasonable, right? It's fairly reasonable that, yeah, you don't need to want to live another 200, 300, 400 years longer, et cetera, okay? Or, or too much power and wealth. But what the well-wisher was saying is that, it's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Necessarily a bad thing to have some good, these good things. So he's, the well-wisher. Well, the story goes that when the emperor rejected all three, all three of those, the well-wisher, didn't get mad, but he just said, okay, then it's not worthwhile, wishing you, giving you these good wishes. So he turned away, and he turned around and walked away. So the emperor was surprised, and so he sought after this person, this well-wisher, and asked him why did he think that, it was I won't say wrong, but it was not correct for the emperor to decline those wishes or those well wishes or blessing, you can say. Okay, it's big, and the young and the not the young man, the well wisher said, if you could live longer, right, you could have more things, you could accomplish more. Okay, yeah, okay. So you could do more good things. Okay, if you have more children, they could they could carry on your legacy longer or wider, broader, etc. And if you have more wealth and power, you could do more good things. Okay, so the story goes is that it's even though yes, it's true that excess, wanting too much of anything is a bad thing, which is true, right? Just at the standard level, but does not necessarily always mean that it's bad, because you could always do more good things, okay, with it. Or now, so the key thing, the key thing is not is that there are two parts, okay, two parts. One part is if we just want too much of any one thing just for its pleasure, for the sake of it, then that's bad. Okay, then that's bad, because that's purely driven by our six senses. Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. We want more, because our six senses never get satisfied. We want more, more, more. We want to enjoy it. We have to take pleasure. So that's bad. Okay. But flip side, if even if we have lots of good things, or I'll say excess, but many good, you can. It's not bad, not necessarily bad, as long as we can what, use it for something good, unconditionally and worthwhile, in accordance with the Tao. Right? Okay. Right. So it's just like nature. Right? Nature has, uh, I say you can say it has limitless potential. Right? Okay. It always constantly rejuvenates, right, the world. Right? It's winter doesn't last, well, maybe unless you're in the polar regions, right? But winter is not does not last for 12 months, right? There's always a time of, I would say, for spring, for rejuvenation, right, or growth, right? So it, as long as we, but nature doesn't hoard, or doesn't say, oh, it gives more. It always provides us without, non-conditional, right? We that was what, part of chapter 8, and I think chapter 7 or 5. One. Okay, we talk about what nature is. That it's always, um, providing things for us, right? It's that cycle, right? That cycle of like the four seasons, etc. Right? So it's unconditional, you can say it's predictable, it's unconditional, and it's always giving, it's always helping, providing benefits, right? Okay, uh, uh, to to sentient beings, to animals, to living beings. Okay, all right. So the key is, so there are two parts. Okay, two parts to that. Okay, so the deeper meaning is this: with immense wealth comes more headaches, as there are more worries about how to safeguard them. Okay, that's one meaning. Okay, that's one understanding. The implication is this: no matter how much wealth we accumulate in the end, we won't be able to take them with us, right? When we leave this world, right? All this wealth, will go to descendants or others, right? So the key point is having too much of anything is always a bad thing. It's an extreme, and it's not the way of moderation, okay, which is contrary to, you can say, doctrine. Okay, but now now we go back to the story of the Zhuangzi Emperor. The key is not to have too much of any one thing just for the sake of having it or enjoying it, but as long as we can apply for good, okay, utilize it for, you know uh, unconditionally, okay, by what, doing something good unconditionally and in accordance to the Tao, then that's more like nature. Then we are like following the way of nature, the way it should be. Okay, all right, all right. Then the it's the third line, okay, of the chapter now. That's the third line, third full line. It's 莫之能守. Okay, so no one is able to protect them. Okay, so this follows from this one. Okay, this is the second phrase of the third line. It just means more means do not. Okay, nothing, none. Okay, then that is it's possessive particle. So apostrophe s. Okay, that's what it means. None means to be able, together, ability, capable. Okay, good. So it can be a verb and verb and a noun. Okay, so means to defend, guard, keep watch, or to observe, to conserve. Okay, so the basic meaning is this: it's having too much. Sorry, having too much of anything. In this case, wealth, right? A hall full of, wealth, gold and jade, means we become vulnerable, right? To what? To loss, death, or damage, right? Okay. Another meaning is this: monetary resources are meant to be utilized, but people, unfortunately, have a tendency to hoard them well beyond the point of usefulness, being excessively material, having materialistic attachments, right? Some people are so super wealthy. They need to create. They need to have huge warehouses, repositories. Heavily guarded or heavily secure. Vaults. Huge vaults to store all their gold bars or precious gems, etc. Right? Okay. So it reaches that point. Okay. So it's and why do they have these vaults? Highly secure vaults and safes, etc. It's because what? They fear that people will steal them, right? People who don't have that will steal them, right? Because okay, all right, so all right, okay. So the basic meaning is hoarding is a bad idea, but that having a reserve or nest egg or rainy day fund are not bad. Okay, are good ideas. Okay, you always want to have a little bit reserve, a little bit, to in case you need it. Okay, so another understanding of phrase is this: it's not that Lao Tzu is not saying that we should have nothing, not empty hall, empty of, gold and jade, etc., or no wealth. It's not about the room being empty of gold and jade. Because there's no virtue in having nothing, nor is there virtue in having too much. Okay, but there is great virtue in just having enough to be able to get what needs in life. Okay, so you can say this is like doctrine of me. Okay, another perspective of doctrine of me, which is we should not have nothing or have too much of excess of anything. Okay, but having just enough to what we need to 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 um, to satisfy a task or a need, then that's just right. That's the appropriate amount. That's the proper amount. Okay. All right. Okay. So the deeper meaning is this. All right. Here it is. Okay. Having too much, in this case, wealth or anything, just for the sake of having more, will lead to what? Wanting more and more. Because why? Remember from the previous two lines or the first two lines. Okay. Right. Overflowing and over sharpening. Right. Because it's driven by what? Having, for the sake of having them. It's what? Driven by what? Our sixth consciousness, right? We want more, 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 right? Never satisfied. And that will lead to what? Greed, right? That's the three poisons. And attachment, right? Right. So one is desires. Well, greed is, you could say, one of the desires, right? You can say that, right? Or you can say, yeah, it can lead to greed, right? Okay. And attachment, okay, to whatever that we are seeking, okay. So that's yo. That's one of the three outflows, okay, that you can look at appendix A, okay, and seven agents, okay. So an attachment to more and more things, right? So that's the danger, okay. That's the danger, okay. Okay, so the higher level is this. This is what a lot. Okay, so in order to have a worthwhile life or a worthy life, is to have an upright and pure mind, or open heart and guiltless. Literally, it means radiant mind. And Xin Guang. Okay. Okay. And this is what Mencius said right here. Okay. Okay. He said, looking up without regrets before heaven. I mean, it depends on the translation. Some people say looking up, yeah, without shame. Or okay. So okay. So let's see. Yeah. So okay, that's what Mencius said. Okay. So the trans yeah, it's what what's what 阳不愧于天, right? 阳不愧于天, right? That means, just, when you see above, okay, when you write, or some translations says you raise your head towards heaven without regret. Okay, so that's another translation. And then looking below, or lowering one's head without shame before others. Okay, 富不错于人, right? 富不错于人, right? That means, it just means when you look down, okay, and when you say looking below, or when you lower your head, okay, lower your head without shame before others. Now this is from Mencius, okay, it's a very famous section. It's book 7. I translate it with the utmost heart. Part 1, chapter 20, verse 3. Okay, it's 孟子尽心章上句第二四章3节. Okay, so it has to do with, you guys can look it up, because I'm running out of time now. It has to do with the 3 delights of a superior person. Okay, 君子的三乐. Okay, so that's chapter 20. It's talking about that. There are 3 delights that a superior person has. Okay, all right. So this is the second one, as a matter of fact. Okay, this is the second delight. Okay, there are 2 other delights, but we don't have time. Since it's not pertinent to this chapter, to this phrase. But basically, what Lao Tzu was saying, up to these 3 phrases, it's basically saying is that, in order to have a worthwhile life, okay, to live a worthwhile life, a meaningful life, okay, it's to have an upright, upright. I want to say upright. It just means a correct, a proper mindset, okay, and a pure mind, okay. So open heart, yeah, you can say open heart, okay, okay. So that means, what does that mean? It means that, you would have no regrets when you look up to heaven. Okay, you would have, no regrets. Okay, looking up to the Buddhas or to God. Okay, without regret. That you say you have a life without regrets. Or when you when you see other people, the people before you, you have no shame. You bear no shame. Okay, towards other, with respect to other people. Okay, with respect to others. Another way is saying you have a clear conscience. Yeah, that's kind of very. It's kind of narrow, but that also means that you have a clear conscience. You live the life with a clear conscience. Okay, so that's another. Okay, so key point is this: we do not need to accumulate wealth as long as we have enough for our living. Our minds will be completely at ease. Okay, so just enough is good. Okay, just enough. There's no need to go overboard. All right. Okay. Just enough. Now, this is all relative, of course. There's no say, oh, 50%. No, there's no hard number. It just means just enough to do what needs to be done. Right. Okay. So that's relative, right? Some tasks or some things require more things, right? So that's okay. Some things, some tasks require less things, right? So it's relative. Okay. So you have to make that understand that, make that judgment. Okay. Now the fourth line is this: 富贵而骄. So wealth and position brings arrogance. Okay. So the first meaning of the first word means 富 means wealth, abundance, wealthy. It could be a noun and an adjective. The second word, 贵, literally means noble, of high rank, honorable, highly valued, precious, or expensive. Okay. It means in this context to bring about. Okay. It means bring. It literally means yet, so that, in order to. Okay. 骄, arrogance, hubris, pride, haughty, proud, conceited. Okay. So it could be a noun and an adjective also. Okay. All right. So the basic meaning is this: excess or of too much wealth and fame can lead to arrogance. Okay. Or too much of anything, okay, can lead to arrogance. So we got to be careful. So remember from the very first phrase, we talked about overflowing my cup, okay, because we have too much, knowledge in this case, or too much something, it can lead to arrogance. All right, okay. So now, beyond the superficial level, though, okay, arrogance can also, or arrogance from an excess of anything, can come of other qualities. Okay, from it, arrogance can also come from an excess of other qualities, okay, as well. Okay, not just wealth, obviously, and fame or knowledge. Okay, all right, knowledge in this case. Okay, yeah, all right, okay. I don't want to do that. Okay, so it just means, okay, so if we have an excess of knowledge, okay, we were so smart, so knowledgeable, so knowledgeable, right? We have so much knowledge. Okay, unfortunately, a lot of people fall, smart people, or you can say, intellectuals, okay, could fall into this trap. Okay, it's when very intelligent people sometimes look down on those who are ignorant or who know less. Yeah, ignorant means who know less. Okay, not literally mean you know nothing, but it just means you know less. Okay, so we're very condescending or patronizing attitude. You can say that's a superiority complex too. Okay, I mean, even though superiority complex could apply in the second part too. But anyway, okay, okay, 优越感. Okay, I think it's you, right? 优越感. Okay, all right. Okay, so that means we got to be careful. Right? Arrogance can come from knowledge. Okay, yeah, too much knowledge, or maybe not enough knowledge. Really. Okay, but or false piety. False piety just means piety means that you're very what? You're very pious. It means you're very sincere and loyal. Okay, but it's false. What's false? It's called virtual signaling. Okay, this is very. I'm not going to psychology, but it just means that cultivating virtues such as humility in order to put oneself in a superior position while putting down others. Example: those who have studied and cultivated Tao for some time feel that somehow they are superior to others because they have all the virtues. Those who want others to know, to signal that they have the Tao virtues to everyone. Okay, so that's called virtual signaling. Okay, so we got to be very careful. So it's like saying, you do the right thing for the wrong reasons or with false intentions. Maybe that's a better thing. So we said we cultivate. Yeah, we are very pious, right? We're very studious, diligent in in we say in learning the Tao, okay, or cultivating about the principles, virtues, etc. But we have false intentions. Okay, we do it because we're diligent in doing that because we want to. I don't say show off, but you want to show others that you're superior. Get it? Okay, so that's the part. So you have, even though we are doing the right thing, right? I mean, that is, you're learning, you're doing virtuous things, etc., right? Being very pious, etc. But you have a false intention. Okay, your intention is wrong, and it is your intention is to show off or to what to what to signal that, oh, see, look how virtuous I am, right? Okay, so as Tao practitioners or cultivators, we have to be very careful, right? Right. That's why when we receive the Tao, okay, it's different, but 虚心假意, okay, we have a false heart and false intentions, okay. So we got to be very careful that our mindset and our intentions are proper too, okay. All right, we do it for the right reasons, okay. We do the right things for the right reasons, okay. All right, okay. All right. So the higher understanding is, so one can be really ignorant by being humble. You know that? Okay. For example, I'm more humble than you are. So this is an example of arrogance. Okay. It's just we have this ego, unfortunately. So we haven't gotten rid of this 我相 or this right, the first of the five sharp views, right? The first of the five king views, right? We talked about that in previous classes. Okay. So we have to be very, very truthful, be true to yourselves, right? Be true to ourselves, okay? Be true. Have no false pretenses or false intentions, okay? All right, okay? So, all right. Actually, when we are being humble, we don't need to say we are humble, okay? All right. So if we think we're humble, and if we think we are more humble than others, if we say that, oh, I'm more humble, then that means you really don't understand what humble means. Okay. Anyway, but that's another story. Okay. All right. So the implication is this: arrogance can result from too much of a certain thing. So in this case, in this line, this phrase, it's talking about materialism and fame or status. Okay, such example. The deeper understanding is this. Okay. Here's what Lecture Liu would say. Actually, we should be proud of ourselves. Okay, isn't that a contradiction? We're being arrogant, right? Well, proud. Okay, no. Okay, what we should be proud of is this: we should be proud that we're all human beings in this lifetime. Okay, yeah. Wow, geez, proud to be human beings. I'd rather be a Buddha, right? But okay, but we're not talking about that level. We're talking about this in the present. Okay, as ascension beings. Okay, we should be proud, or we should be, yeah, you can say proud. Yeah, I don't say arrogant, but proud. Okay, why? Because having a human body or form in this period is very hard to come by. Okay, that's part of the what they call 四难, the four difficulties, right? Four difficulties of this period, of this white era, right? One of them is what? I think it's the first one, right? Being a human. I mean, having a human form. Because don't forget, right? That's part of the six six paths, right? The 六道, right? The six paths, right? So human being is one of the six paths, right? It's actually in the middle, right? The middle, third or fourth. Okay, fourth. Right? Because you could also be an animal. That's bad too, right? I mean, or worse than that, we could be a hungry ghost, or in the underworld. Okay, right? So those are bad. Okay, so you say, oh, we're fortunate to be here. We should be proud the fact that in this era, in the white era, that we, our karma. You can base it on karma. You can say, because we have that good karma to be a human being in this white era. Okay. Now the other three is, you either be an asura, or what was that? Asura or celestial being, right? Let's see. Celestial being or asura, right? The other two. Those are spiritual forms too. Oh, just like the underworld too, but they don't have a human form, right? So of the six paths or six states of existence, you can call it that. Okay. Only one is a human being, right? One out of six. So you can say, you should be proud that we have this karma, good karma, or fortunate karma to be a human being. Okay. I mean, okay. All right. And why is that a good karma? Why is that good karma to be a human being? Why? Because only by having a human form in this era of what? Universal salvation, right? The three realms. Then can we have the opportunity to encounter the Tao, to learn the Tao, to cultivate the Tao, to propagate the Tao, right? To what become enlightened, right? So that's why. Okay, so that's why we should be proud. Okay, so we should be proud. We should be proud, but not to be arrogant towards others. So internally, we should be proud that, oh, I have this good karma. We have this good karma to be a human being in this era, in this period, right? Okay, but not to display that arrogance or pride to others, external, okay? Just to ourselves. We should be very satisfied and proud of ourselves. It's all right, okay? But do not display that pride to others, okay? So that's kind of the nuance, okay? So the key point is this, all right? Arrogance towards others will lead to a strong tendency, or you can say the point of contention, point of friction, which will become harmful to others and gives others pressure. Okay, so we should avoid that. That's one reason to avoid. Okay, arrogance, among others. I mean, because that will lead to what? What's a strong harmful? It'll lead to what? Envy, jealousy, etc., etc. Okay, contention even. Okay, all right. So that's one. Okay, so all right. Now then, let's go to the this. We're near the end of the last three phrases. Okay, all right, 3 or 4 phrases. Okay, okay. 自细其咎, right? 自细其咎. It just means leaves disasters upon oneself. Okay, remember at the first we talk about pride, right? Wealth and pride. I'm sorry, wealth and position. Okay, about arrogance, brings about arrogance, and that will what? Leave disasters upon oneself. So the meaning of 自, first word means oneself, self. 细 means to leave behind. It could mean to omit, to lose, to bequeath, or remainder, residue. Okay, it could be a verb and a noun. Okay, 气 we know it's that it. Okay, 咎 means calamity, okay, catastrophe, or 祸. Okay, it means it's like 祸 in Chinese. Okay, just it could also mean so that's the noun or misfortune. It also means blame, defect, fault. It could also means to blame or to punish. Okay, all right, that's a verb. Okay, but in this case, it's a noun. Okay, all right. So the basic meaning is this: concluding from the previous phrase, arrogance essentially is it's an invitation to disasters. Okay, so that's be careful. So now here's the reason why uh, it brings about, and because why? Because people do not see the connection between arrogance and disaster. People say, "Oh, those are two different things," which is true, right? Arrogance just means you're full of yourself, right? Right? Yeah. Okay. And disaster is another thing. Disaster is it's based on karma. It's based on nature. Nature's wrath. Et cetera, et cetera. Okay. But actually, the two are related. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what Lao Tzu is trying to say, right? Okay. From the previous first 3 lines, it talks about the arrogance, basically arrogance, right, or having excess, right, of too much of one thing or something can lead to arrogance too, right? Like wealth and status, right? Those 2 examples: too much wealth, too much status, okay, or too high status, and then what bring disasters upon oneself, okay, and why? Because we don't see the connection. Because due to timing and consequence of the result, because both the consequence and result, timing and consequence and the result are not consistent. Okay, what do I mean by that? Okay, one is that disaster as a result of arrogance may be immediate. It could be immediate. So that's what we say, instant karma, or it could take years or lifetimes to arrive, or it could be immediate or delayed karma, right? So that's why we don't see the connection, right? Generally, sometimes it could be immediate, like you get a direct humiliation or rebuke, okay, or rebuttal for your arrogance, or okay, all right. So that could happen, okay, but a lot of times, okay, it's delayed. It could take many years or lifetimes for it to show up, okay, the result of the arrogance to show up, the disaster. Okay, and then the second part is that this consequence is also not consistent, in the sense that the disaster can range from a slap on the wrist, like karmic retribution, or like in this case, or on one extreme, all the way to death and destruction, or heavy and serious karma on the other extreme. Okay, so when I say instant karma, usually it could be a slap on the wrist. Okay, like you know people will point out your arrogance right away. Okay, after we said something or display something. Okay, either Okay, so that would be you can say that's embarrassment. Worse it's embarrassment or maybe some humiliation. Okay, or okay, okay, but also it could go. That's from one extreme to the other extreme. It could also lead to death and destruction. Okay, so so there's a full range of that's as a result of the consequence of our arrogance. Okay, so most of us don't understand that, so that's why, and here's why. And the implication is this lack of consistency. Okay, means that unfortunately people will tend to continue to fall into this trap of arrogance, lifetime after lifetime, generation after generation. So the task of a educator is to see beyond the inconsistencies and realize that arrogance will bring consequence, i.e., this consequence, disaster, and thus we should avoid arrogance. All right? Okay? All right? Okay? So this is the practical aspect. Okay? All right. Further, there's two more points on lessons of arrogance. Okay? Okay. The first one is it may be explicit. Okay, but still fall on deaf ears. Okay, this is the result of pointing the blame away from ourselves and deflecting the lesson. Okay, this will only result in repeating the consequences of arrogance due to the inability to see the connection between one's arrogance and its consequences. Okay, so we have to be careful. Okay, we should not. We should learn. Okay, or learn. Okay, don't deflect. Okay, don't if we are arrogant, right, and it led to a bad consequence, we should not ignore that. We should not deflect. We should not rationalize and say, oh, that's because some of the reason. Okay, so you have to be careful. Or we should accept. Okay, accept the lessons, accept the consequences. Okay, understand that it's because of the arrogance that we displayed. Okay, so there's another one. Both arrogances that may be indirect, okay, and may not think that it was you that call because of our arrogance we expressed, but if negative consequences are indirect. I agree. For example, this happens a lot. Parents may express arrogance through children or proxies, where parents are constantly comparing their children to the children of other parents. It may be the children who suffer the consequences, though, not you, not the parents. Okay, so that's another one, right? As parents, there's a contention, right? We have to say, oh, mine is better than yours, stuff like that. So this, once again, it's arrogance, ego, it's having a differentiating mind and heart, etc. Okay, all right, okay, all right. Deep understanding. With great wealth and status, we will overlook, unfortunately, or miss some of the faults and offenses, and unwittingly. Okay, see, so that's the problem with having such great wealth or status. Actually, having excess of anything. Actually, okay, having excess knowledge. Okay, all right, we will tend to overlook or miss some of our little faults. Okay, unwittingly. Okay, because we are not we're so full of it. Okay, so we tend to miss that. Okay, all right, unwittingly. It's not we purposefully don't admit or don't see the faults. Okay, it's not that purposely. We tend sometimes we tend to we generally tend to overlook things. Okay, when we have too much of that. Okay, too much of anything really. Okay, so the key point is this: we need to understand that what faults are created by circumstances of our surroundings. So after understanding the principles with cultivation, really proper cultivation, and its mastery, we will not become arrogant. So we will not bring disasters ourselves. Okay, so this all goes down to that's why we have to cultivate and understand. Okay, understand the reasons why we become arrogant. Okay, or the causes. Okay, and also it's caused by circumstances of our surroundings. Okay, by circumstances too. All right. Okay, So we have to understand that. So we have to avoid, okay? So we have to be, another way of saying it is we have to be more mindful, okay? More mindful, okay, of our ego, okay? Mindful of our surroundings, mindful of circumstances, mindful of what we think and say and do, okay? So mindful of our intentions, mindful of a lot of things, okay? All right, okay. Okay, then we're near the end. Okay, so 功成名遂, right? I think that's the phrase. Okay, 功成名遂. Okay, so when achievement is completed and fame is attained. Okay, okay. So 功 literally 功 means merit, achievement, result, skill, function. Okay, 成 means to complete, to succeed, to accomplish, to achieve. Okay, okay. It also means success. Okay, it means success. 名 means fame, reputation. It can mean name, celebrate, well-known position. Okay, rank, title. 遂 means to achieve, to attain, to succeed, to fulfill, okay, to satisfy, to reach. So the basic meaning, the literally means achieving success and fame. It's an idiom, being successful and famous, okay. So another meaning is this, okay. So now Lao Tzu does not advocate doing nothing, okay. He does not say, oh, don't do anything. uh, he's basically saying that once we achieve our objectives, and even we could become famous, okay, it's not necessarily contrary to the Tao. Okay, it's not, right? Remember in previous chapters, okay, he talked about putting ourselves in the back, right? But yet, by doing so, we will still achieve, right? We can still achieve. So he didn't say that, oh, you should hide and don't do anything. Don't achieve, don't do anything, okay? No. So the deeper understanding is that the Tao is not avoiding the achievement or doing nothing, but in doing things the proper or right way. That's very important, okay? But in doing things, what, wu wei, unconditional, right? Okay, according to our Buddha nature, you can say that, or according to the doctrine of me, or okay, all right, and conforming in accordance to the doctrine of me. Okay, same thing, all right? Okay, so the deeper meaning is this, all right? It's okay. After helping people to live and work in peace and contentment, okay, okay, and anqi le ye, okay, that is an accomplishment, right? So thus fame is also attained without striving for recognition. Okay, you do it unconditionally. You do it not because you want to become famous, right? Or not, okay? Not because you want to be in the spotlight, right? Remember we talked about this in previous chapters, right? The seven virtues of water, same thing, right? Okay, the water just does its thing without seeking what fame, status, etc. Okay. Okay. So the key point is when achievement is completed and fame is attained, that is the proper way to Tao. Okay, that is the proper. Okay. Sun Tui, that means withdraw oneself. Okay, okay. Tui means to retreat, to move back, to withdraw, to back. Okay. All right. So the basic meaning is after completion of task, one moves on. No need to stay in the spotlight or for the accolades or praise. Right? Remember chapter 7 and 8. Okay, we talk about selflessness and be like water or the virtues of water. Right? Okay, same thing. Okay, so the similar understanding is this. Another understanding is similar to how a river does tremendous work as it flows across the land, such as irrigating the farms, nurturing all living things. But once the river has done its work, water, it moves on. It doesn't stay there. It just moves on, continues on, moves on. Okay. Okay, it doesn't seek the spotlight. Okay, so deeper meaning is this: after achievement or accomplishment is achieved or completed, and the recognition. Okay, sure, we're gonna get recognized. Okay, we do not claim the credit for ourselves. That is, we withdraw ourselves. Right? Okay, so that's this. Okay, so the higher understanding is this: is to withdraw oneself means all the credits or merits are pushed or given to others. Okay, that's what Grand predecessor Han likes to say, okay, he would say this, okay, 把功劳多推给别人. Okay, he always said, points this. Actually, it's this, okay, it's right here, okay, it says, by pushing merits to others and taking on the blame on oneself, right? That's being very noble, okay? So that's 推功揽过, right? 推功揽过, right? 推功揽过. Means to push the merits or to achievements and to take on, yeah, you can say to take on the blame. Okay, it will nurture our inner virtues, though. Okay, that's the important thing. Why we do this? It's part of the yeah, the four, what's that? The four classes of cultivation or something. It's part of the whole, you can say. Okay, but anyway, it's part of that. Okay, anyway, it will nurture our inner restraint. Okay, 会培养我们的寒懒。因为 I 寒懒，you know, it's translated. I translate as inner restraint. It actually means more than that. It means our sense of magnanimity, okay, or forbearance. It could mean all that. Okay, it will nurture that. Okay, it will nurture our strength of our forbearance and depth of magnanimity, or depth or width, breadth or broadness or breadth, okay, broadness of our magnanimity. Okay, so it will get deeper and deeper. So that our our magnanimity, forbearance, etc., will become stronger, will become deeper. Okay, will become broader. Okay, all of that. Okay, so that's why you know we do this. Okay, so you can say it's an inner, yeah, it's that's an inner cultivation, right? You can say. Okay, so all right. Okay, then the last phrase, okay, is 天之道. Okay, so 生退天之道. Okay, so remember this is connected to this. Okay, it's one line. Okay, okay, so this literally 天之道 means this is the Tao of heaven. Okay, okay, heaven. Okay, of heaven. This of heaven. Okay, heaven. Ten means heaven. This means of. It's a possessive article. Tao, the way. Okay, so basic meaning is this. Okay, this is the way of nature. Okay, like the wind which spins the windmills, okay, or the wind turbines, and continues on its way, just like the river which does not stick around after irrigating the land. Okay, it just flows, just continues on, right? Okay, so this is also true for what? For the moon, the planets, the sun, the stars, and every other aspect of nature. They just continue to move on. They don't hang around for what? To be in the spotlight for praise or accolades, right? Okay, so that's the way nature works. Okay, so the deeper meaning is this: this is the way of our Buddha nature, our true nature. So this is how we should be conducting ourselves, flowing in accordance with our Buddha nature, not the sixth consciousness. Remember, right? That's okay. Okay, just like nature around us. Okay, so deeper meaning is this is the way the Tao works, how heaven works, how the earth works. Okay, so the key point is this: by withdrawing oneself is in accordance with the Tao of heaven. Okay, 符合天的道. Okay, all right. So I concluded. It's supposed to be a short chapter, but I talked a lot. Okay, so here are the three outflows. Okay, the 三漏. Okay, or yeah, literally three leakages, outflows. Okay, it feeds the stream of mortality, that is samsara. Okay, so we have desires. That's the first one. Okay, so that's why we got to be careful. Existence, same thing. Okay, okay, and ignorance of the way. Okay, all right. So this is from the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. Okay, that's the three outflows. Then there's the seven agents. Okay, seven agents are attracting chisu. Okay, chisu. Yu is also say it's part of it. So these first three are what? Three poisons, right? First three are three poisons. I have it down here, right? The asterisk are three poisons. Then the plus these are the five that. Okay, let's do this. That. Okay, these five are the dull vices or temptations. Yeah, is that right? Yeah, okay. And then the X is the five sharp keen views, right? That's these two. Okay. These two. Okay. No, just this. Sorry, that's this. Okay, just this. And then the three outflows or leakages are this, right? Here. Oops. Okay. All right. So, okay. So this is in our Buddha Nature glossary list. Okay. So all right. Okay. Wow, I talked a lot, a long time. Okay, all right. So it's almost 2 hours. Okay, so that's it. Any questions? So this builds on the previous two chapters, couple chapters. All right, definitely chapter 8 and chapter 9. Okay, so it's very short in Chinese, but there's a lot to say. Uh, okay. Uh, okay, I'll finish right now. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank uh, the Buddhas, Heaven's grace. If I've said something that's not incorrect, I ask for Buddha's forgiveness. Any questions? Well, I was going to summarize saying that. So that's what the chapter is called sustaining achievements or maintaining virtues, right? He's saying, basically, is saying that how do we sustain? How do we keep, maintain? Some people say conserve. Conserve is too narrow, but it just means how do we maintain our virtues? Is to not to do any of these. That's what he was trying to say, right? Or not. Okay, all right. Not to have too much excess with the wrong intentions, etc., etc. Right? Okay. So that's why the chapter, the topic is called sustaining achievement. Okay. Even though in this case, you know, this word is used already several times, right? In previous, I think chapter 4 or 5, I think, or something like that. Okay, it's going to be used in future chapters too. Okay. So anyway, so basically, the whole point of the chapter is to, it builds on previous chapters. Obviously, chapter 8 specific, particularly, a lot. Okay, it's the how do we maintain our achievements? How do I say? How do we not? How do we maintain our virtues? Another way of saying, okay, and not lose our virtues. Okay, not how do we keep our virtues? Okay, keep maintaining those virtues. Okay,